Hey, just wanted to give an update on this channel. I have a lot of ideas floating around like in my head for content, and rather than committing to making a series, I just want to pitch and trial a few ideas. The first one in my head is a series called, I would call it "Oh No, a Pattern," and it's where we would take a look at a very specific section of a chart that might be confusing and try to break it down into a way that makes it more approachable or more manageable. And the idea is that each video is supposed to be like really short and concise. We wouldn't look at an entire chart, just one particular section of a chart. And the name of the series comes from a joke I have with Red Zone Nova, who I often see in the same Twitch streams that I do for Statmania. And anytime someone, it's particularly in stamina streams, but sometimes in tech as well, anytime someone gets tripped up and calls out a pattern for being hard, Red Zone is always in the chat ready to say, "Oh no, a pattern." It's a fun joke. I think patterns that are hard definitely exist, and they're worth taking a look at. So with that said, let's actually just jump right into it. I want this video to start with kind of like a simple pattern, and then we can dig into something. In a future videos, we can dig into things that are harder. So I wanted to say thank you, first of all. I've only uploaded one video. I have 46 subscribers. So 46 of you guys have enough faith in me to keep this going. And I actually want to look at one of the comments from, I believe, Underjoy. Underjoy commented saying that I missed a term, that there's also 270s, which are turns that are extremely turn heavy. And my response to Underjoy is, it's not that I forgot about 270s. I definitely know they exist. It's just that 270 has never been used as a tech notation, like in the description field on Statmania. But fortunately, there are tournament charts that have 270s. I don't think there's many of them, but the first one that comes to mind is Starstruck. Starstruck is a chart, I believe I've seen it in Storm 2019, and also, I think it was in Raj 6 as well. I've had some pretty good matches. Starstruck has rewarded me. I've been rewarded well for knowing Starstruck. Let's just say that. So let's scroll back here, and let's take a look at these 270s. I have to hit start and stop on Arrow Vortex a couple times in order to get this to work correctly. Yep, those are not normal crossovers. Not at all. Yeah, let's roll back up, and let's see how I would approach that. Okay, so the main thing here, right? I think this is a crossover pattern that most people would recognize. It's kind of this pattern here where we kind of start with the left foot here, and then this one is kind of hit as a crossover, right? But the thing to note here is that this down arrow appears twice. So the crossover is kind of able to spin us one way, and the down arrow happens again, spin us back. If we go to the next crossover, it's kind of the same situation here where we have this pattern starting us on the left foot. This up arrow happens twice, so it's able to spin us one way, we do the crossover, and then the same up arrow is what we use to kind of come home, to resolve this pattern, right? And the reason why a 270 is hard is because we now end up in this position where we have this down arrow here, but there's not a down arrow here. We have an up arrow here instead. So this idea of kind of going one way and then spinning back doesn't work out. What a 270 wants you to do is hit this with the left, this with the right. This would be crossed over left, and then it wants you to actually continue the turn so you're like facing backwards. This would also be done as a crossover on the right. And then you'd still be crossed over for this left. I think an easier approach for this, which is pretty common in DDR as well, for kind of jumping off of freezes, is I kind of see this up arrow coming ahead. I would actually just kind of pretend like there's another down arrow here. And then do this as left, right, and then I'll just kind of hop over and do this as a jump, where this jump is on the left and this is on the right. And now I'm in a more comfortable position to hit this up arrow with the left. The only thing now is that if you hit this with the right, you're kind of in the same position again, where if you hit this with the left, and then hit this crossed over with the right, and then this also with the right, I guess you'd be like this way on the left foot, but you'd be facing backwards. That's really weird. So you can just do the same thing back in the other direction. Do this as right, this as left, and then just kind of pretend that there's another down arrow here. And then do this as a left-right jump. And then now you can hit this with the left, do this with the right. You're facing forward the whole time. I think that's a much more manageable approach to it. I think that's how most people do it. I think that's how normal people do this. I've only seen one person do the actual turns. I think I accidentally added a step here when I was manipulating the scenes. I don't know which one the correct arrow is. But yeah, I've only seen one person do it. That's McGeeby from Texas, and I believe he said that he's also seen Rust do it. I've never seen Rust do a full 270, but yeah, let's just run this back and see the kind of like the hop on the freezes. You can do these turns, but I would hop here, hop here. Do these turns. Don't do this. Don't do this. Do these turns. Hop, hop. Yeah, so that's it. I think that's a pattern that could really trip someone up if they've never seen a 270 turn before in a chart. But knowing that there's a way to get away with doing that pattern without actually spinning, a full 180, I think it's good to know. That's all I have for this chart. If there's another pattern that is really tripping you up in another song, I'd love to hear it in the comments. If you have any feedback on how this video is done, I'm also open to that. I do have concerns about the fact that I just kind of did this at my desk. I'm not playing this on a pad, among other things, but yeah, thanks.